Every friendship you have is conditional. Every act of kindness you've received had a motivation behind it that wasn't purely generous. Every smile directed at you was at least partially calculated. This isn't bitterness, it's clarity. Because a person who understands a performance is never shocked by betrayal, never blindsided by a change in someone's behavior, and never destroyed by discovering that someone they trusted was playing a role. And that clarity, the kind that most people spend their entire lives avoiding, is exactly what Schopenhauer tried to give us over 200 years ago. Not to make us paranoid, to make us impossible to fool. Schopenhauer saw human nature without the filter that most people need in order to get through the day. He looked at social life and described it as a system of mutual deception. Not because people are evil, but because the truth about what people actually think and feel would make society collapse overnight. Think about that. If every person you interacted with today suddenly became fully transparent, every hidden opinion visible, every private motive exposed, every polite lie stripped away, you wouldn't feel closer to them. You'd feel sick, not because they're monsters, because the gap between what people show you and what they actually carry inside them is so wide that seeing it all at once would be unbearable. So we perform, all of us, every day, and the performance isn't optional. It's the price of admission to every social space you've ever entered. The office, the family dinner, the group chat, the first date. Every single one of these environments runs on an unspoken agreement. Show me something I can work with, and I'll do the same for you. Nobody signed that contract, but everybody honored. Schopenhauer described something he called the will, a blind, relentless drive underneath all human behavior. Not logic, not morality, want. Every person you've ever met is driven by this engine of desire, for status, for comfort, for validation, for control. And most of what you experience as their personality is just the packaging that engine comes wrapped in. The co-worker who's always helpful. They want to be seen as indispensable. The friend who always checks in on you. They want to feel needed. The person who gives unsolicited advice. They want to feel above you, the one who's constantly self-deprecating. They want you to disagree, to hand them the reassurance they can't give themselves. None of these people are necessarily aware of what's driving them. That's the part that makes it so disturbing. The performance isn't always conscious. Most people have been wearing the mask so long they've mistaken it for their face. They don't experience it as deception. They experience it as personality. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. You're doing it too. Not in every moment, but in enough of them. The opinions you soften at work. The enthusiasm you fake in conversations that bore you. The version of yourself you present on a first meeting versus the version that exists when you're alone at 2 a.m. Those are two different people. And the distance between them is the exact distance between your mask and your face. So if everyone is pretending, what do you actually do with that information? Because there are 2 wrong responses and 1 right one. The first wrong response is bitterness. Seeing the performance and deciding that people are worthless, that connection is impossible, that trust is a fool's game. Schopenhauer gets accused of this constantly, that his philosophy leads to isolation and misanthropy. It doesn't. It leads there only if you stop at the observation and never move to the understanding. The second wrong response is denial. Hearing all of this and thinking, not my people, not my circle, not the ones I trust. That's the comfortable response. It's also the one that leaves you blindsided every single time someone you believed in turns out to be performing like everyone else. The right response is acceptance without surrender, accepting that the performance exists in others and in yourself, without letting it make you cold or naive. It means you stop being surprised by self-interest and start accounting for it. You stop treating betrayal as a shock and start treating it as a possibility you've already prepared for. You move through the world with your eyes open instead of choosing between blindness and bitterness. Schopenhauer compared people to porcupines in the cold. They need each other for warmth, but they keep hurting each other with their quills. So they find a distance, not too close, not too far, where they can survive without bleeding. That distance is what most people call friendship. That distance is what most people call love. It's not the deep, unfiltered connection they believe it is. It's the closest they can get without the quills drawing blood. That isn't tragic, it's intelligent. And finding your version of that distance, knowing exactly how close you can stand to people without losing yourself, is one of the most important things you'll ever do. The performance reveals itself most clearly in how people respond to your success and your failure. Pay attention to this. It will teach you more about human nature than any book ever could. When you're struggling, notice who shows up, not who says the right things, who actually shows up. Because words during someone else's failure are cheap. They cost nothing and they look good. The people who perform concern are everywhere. The people who demonstrate it are almost non-existent. Now notice what happens when you succeed. Really succeed, in a way that's visible, undeniable, that changes your position relative to the people around you. Watch their faces. Not the first reaction, the second one. The first reaction is performance. Congratulations, smiles, the right words at the right volume. The second reaction, the one that flickers for half a second before they catch it, is real. And it's not always joy. Schopenhauer observed that we find it easy to bear the misfortunes of others. He wasn't being cruel. He was describing something you've already felt but didn't have the language for. That most people's compassion has a ceiling, and it's located exactly at the point where your pain starts to make them feel better about their own situation. None of this means you should stop trusting people. It means you should stop trusting the performance and start trusting the pattern. Words are performance. Actions repeated over time are data. And the person who watches the data instead of the performance will never be caught off guard. Schopenhauer wasn't a bitter man who hated the world. He was a clear man who refused to pretend it was something it wasn't. And that refusal, that commitment to seeing people as they actually are instead of as they present themselves, is the most valuable psychological tool you will ever develop. Because here's the final truth that most people will reject, and a few will understand. The performance will never stop. People will never be fully honest with you. The masks will never come off. Not completely, not permanently. That's not something to mourn. That's something to work with. Once you stop wishing people were different and start understanding why they are the way they are, something changes in you. Not hardness, not cynicism. Something quieter than that. You stop being surprised. You stop being hurt by things that are just human nature doing what it's always done. And you start moving through the world the way Schopenhauer suggested, with your eyes open, your expectations accurate, and your peace completely intact. Everyone is pretending. That's not the dark part. The dark part is how long you pretended they weren't.